Most people believe that money problems are caused by a lack of income. They think that if they just earned a little more, everything would finally fall into place. Bills would feel lighter, stress would disappear, and life would somehow become easier. But that belief is exactly where the real problem begins. Because the truth is, most people don't struggle with money because they don't earn enough. They struggle because of how they think about money. For most people, money is something scarce. It feels limited, fragile, and easy to lose. There is a constant background fear that there will never be enough. Enough for rent, enough for emergencies, enough for the future. This scarcity mindset shapes almost every financial decision they make. When money feels scarce, the main goal becomes protecting what little you have. Spending feels dangerous, losing money feels catastrophic, and risk feels irresponsible, no matter how small it is. This is why most people focus obsessively on saving rather than building. They are taught from an early age that the key to financial security is to spend less than you earn and put the rest away. While saving is important, it becomes a trap when it's the only strategy. Saving feels safe because it avoids action, it avoids uncertainty, it avoids discomfort, but it also avoids growth. Money that is only saved is money that stays passive, trapped, slowly losing value to inflation while giving the illusion of progress. Another defining trait of how most people think about money is that they tie it directly to time. Money is something you earn by giving away hours of your life. You work 8 hours, you get paid for 8 hours. If you want more money, the obvious solution seems to be working more hours, taking on overtime, or finding a second job. In this framework, income has a hard ceiling. There are only so many hours in a day, and once those are used up, income can't grow anymore. This time for money trade creates a deep sense of exhaustion and frustration. People feel like they are constantly running on a treadmill that never speeds up or slows down. If they stop, the money stops. If they get sick, the money stops. If they take a break, the money stops. Over time, this creates anxiety and resentment toward money itself. Money becomes something you chase, something that controls your schedule, rather than something that works for you. For most people, money is also primarily associated with consumption. It's seen as a reward for effort. You work hard, so you deserve to spend. You've had a stressful week, so you treat yourself. You made it through the month, so you buy something nice. Spending becomes emotional relief. It's not just about the object being purchased, but about how it makes you feel in that moment. Comforted, distracted, validated. This emotional relationship with money is one of the biggest silent drains on financial stability. Purchases are often justified not because they make long-term sense, but because they temporarily reduce stress or increase status. A new phone feels like progress. A nicer car feels like success. A bigger apartment feels like moving forward. But these decisions are rarely evaluated based on their long-term cost. Instead, they're measured by how good they feel right now. Another common pattern is that most people see money as something external to themselves. They believe that wealth is largely determined by luck, background, or circumstances they can't control. Rich people were born into money. They had connections. They got lucky with the right opportunity at the right time. This belief is comforting because it removes responsibility. If wealth is mostly luck, then struggling isn't a personal failure. It's just how the world works. But this mindset also quietly disempowers people. If money success depends on forces outside your control, then there's no real reason to deeply understand money. There's no urgency to learn how it works, how it moves, or how it grows. Financial education becomes optional rather than essential. Many people go their entire lives without learning basic concepts about investing, cash flow, or leverage, simply because they don't believe those tools are meant for them. Fear plays a central role in how most people handle money. Fear of losing it, fear of making a mistake, fear of being judged. This fear often disguises itself as responsibility. Avoiding risk is labeled as being smart. Sticking to what's familiar is called being cautious. But underneath it all is the fear of stepping outside a narrow comfort zone. As a result, people avoid opportunities not because they've carefully analyzed them, but because uncertainty feels uncomfortable. Most people also equate financial security with stability. A stable job, a predictable paycheck, fixed routines. Stability feels safe because it's familiar. Even if the income is low, even if the job is draining, even if there's no real upward path, stability feels better than the unknown. This is why many people stay in situations they dislike for years. The fear of instability outweighs the potential upside of change. Another powerful factor is social conditioning. Most people grow up surrounded by others who think about money the same way they do. Family, friends, coworkers, they all reinforce similar beliefs. Talking about money openly feels awkward or inappropriate. Wanting more is sometimes labeled as greedy or ungrateful. Risk-taking is criticized, especially if it fails. Over time, these social signals shape behavior. People learn to play it safe, not just financially, but socially. Because of this, many financial decisions are driven by comparison rather than intention. People don't ask, is this good for my future? They ask, what will others think? Money becomes a tool for fitting in rather than building freedom. Keeping up appearances often matters more than building assets. And the cost of that is rarely visible in the short term, which makes it even harder to recognize. There is also a deep misunderstanding about debt. For most people, debt is something to fear, but also something they rely on. Credit cards, car loans, and consumer financing are normalized, while debt yet used to build or grow something is rarely discussed. This leads to a cycle where people are comfortable taking on debt for consumption, but terrified of using money strategically. Debt becomes a burden instead of a tool, because it's used without intention or understanding. At the core of all these patterns is a reactive relationship with money. Most people respond to money as it comes and goes. They react to bills, emergencies, and opportunities rather than planning for them. Financial decisions are often made under pressure, emotion, or urgency. And when you're constantly reacting, you rarely have the mental space to think long term. This is why so many people feel stuck, even when they're doing everything they were told to do. They work hard, they save a little, they avoid obvious mistakes, and yet progress feels painfully slow. The system they're operating in was never designed for growth. It was designed for survival. Understanding this isn't about blame, it's about awareness. Because once you see that most financial struggles come from deeply ingrained ways of thinking, you realize something powerful. The problem isn't just money, it's the mental framework around it. And frameworks, unlike circumstances, can be changed. Wealthy people don't see money as something emotional, they see it as something functional. To them, money is not a reward, a source of stress, or a measure of self-worth. It's a tool. Just like a hammer or a lever, its value comes from how it's used. This single shift in perspective changes everything, because when money is a tool, every decision becomes intentional instead of reactive. Instead of asking, how much does this cost me right now? Wealthy thinkers ask, what does this produce over time? They evaluate money based on outcomes, not feelings. A dollar spent is not automatically good or bad. It's judged by whether it creates more value, more freedom, or more options in the future. This long-term lens removes emotion from most financial decisions and replaces it with logic and probability. One of the biggest differences is how wealthy people think about leverage. They understand that effort alone has limits, but leverage multiplies results. Rather than relying only on their own time, they look for ways to use systems, capital, technology, and other people's expertise. The goal is not to work harder, but to build structures that continue to produce results even when they're not actively involved. This is why wealthy people are obsessed with assets. Assets are things that generate value repeatedly. They could be businesses, investments, intellectual property, or systems that solve problems at scale. Instead of asking, how can I earn more this month? They ask, what can I build or acquire that keeps working next year? This shift turns income from something temporary into something durable. Time is treated very differently as well. Wealthy people are acutely aware that time is the only truly non-renewable resource. Because of that, they're careful about how they spend it. They avoid tasks that have low long-term impact, even if those tasks feel productive in the moment. Busy work is not respected, only progress is. They're willing to spend money to save time, knowing that time freed up can be reinvested into higher leverage activities. Another key distinction is how wealthy people approach risk. They don't see risk as something to avoid at all costs. They see it as something to understand, measure, and manage. Instead of asking, what if this fails? They ask, what's the downside and can I survive it? If the worst case scenario is manageable and the upside is significant, the risk becomes acceptable. This is why wealthy thinkers are comfortable making imperfect decisions. They know that waiting for certainty often means missing opportunity. They treat most decisions as experiments. Small bets, fast feedback, constant adjustment. Failure is not an identity, it's information. Each mistake teaches them how the system really works, not how they wish it worked. Money is also viewed as something that should be deployed, not stored. While wealthy people understand the importance of liquidity, they don't hoard cash out of fear. Idle money is seen as wasted potential. Capital is meant to move, to be tested, to be put into environments where it can grow. Even when investments don't work out, the experience and insight gained are considered part of the return. Another defining trait is that wealthy people invest heavily in themselves. Skills, knowledge, and networks are treated as high-return assets. They know that the right skill can multiply income far more reliably than any short-term investment. Learning is not seen as optional or something that ends after formal education. It's a lifelong process tied directly to financial growth. Wealthy people also separate identity from outcomes. A bad investment doesn't mean they're bad at money. A failed business doesn't mean they're failures. This emotional detachment allows them to recover faster and think more clearly. When ego is removed from financial decisions, learning accelerates and resilience increases. Cash flow matters more than appearances. Wealthy thinkers are far less concerned with how success looks and far more focused on how it functions. They don't prioritize status symbols unless those symbols serve a strategic purpose. A purchase that impresses others but weakens long-term cash flow is seen as a liability, not a reward. Freedom quietly outranks validation. Another important difference is patience. Wealthy people are comfortable with delayed gratification. They understand that meaningful wealth compounds over time, not overnight. They're willing to look behind in the short term if it means moving far ahead later. This patience is not passive. It's active and strategic. They're constantly positioning themselves for future advantage. Wealthy thinkers also understand that money follows value, not effort. Effort is invisible unless it produces results that others are willing to pay for. This is why they focus on solving problems, especially problems that affect many people or involve high stakes. The more value you create at scale, the more money naturally flows toward you. This removes the moral weight from money and reframes it as a byproduct of usefulness. They also design their lives with optionality in mind. Wealth is not just about having more, it's about needing less, having options to walk away, to pivot, to say no. Financial decisions are evaluated based on whether they increase or reduce future options. Anything that creates dependency without upside is viewed with caution. At a deeper level, wealthy people believe that money is learnable. They don't see financial success as a trait you're born with. It's a skill set, and like any skill, it can be practiced, refined, and improved. This belief creates a sense of control and responsibility. If results are poor, the response isn't blame, it's curiosity. What can be adjusted? What can be learned? Perhaps the most important difference is that wealthy people play offense, not defense. Most people are trying not to lose. Wealthy people are trying to build. Their decisions are proactive, not reactive. They don't wait for permission, perfect conditions, or external validation. They act, observe, and adapt. This way of thinking doesn't require being rich to start. It only requires a shift in perspective. The moment money stops being something you fear or chase and starts being something you intentionally direct, everything changes. Wealth is not the starting point of this mindset. It's the result of it. If this helped you, consider subscribing.